Oh. You better believe it's on the one number.
Okay, yeah.
Bring a flash.
It's not gonna help.
Go ahead and get started. We got Councilmember Joey is on the phone. His wife's in the hospital, had to go to the ER for some reason, and so he's gonna participate via phone. He's like 2 of those per year, so.
Joey, you can still hear us, right?
Yes, sir, I can.
All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and call to order the December 14th, 2023 regular meeting of the Tallulah Falls Town Council. We'll start with a moment of silence. Amen. Okay, then we're gonna start with the swearing, the public swearing in of new council member Mike Herbschot.
Right, right.
Yes.
Get his picture.
Picture, not hers.
I state your name.
I, Gerald Michael Herbschot,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of councilperson
the duties of councilperson
of the town of Tallulah Falls, Georgia.
of the town of Tallulah Falls, Georgia.
I will not knowingly permit my vote
I will not knowingly commit my vote
to be influenced by fear,
to be influenced by fear,
favor, affection, or reward.
favor, affection, or reward.
And in all things pertaining to my office,
And in all things pertaining to my office,
I will be governed by the public good
I'll be governed by the public good
and the interests of the town.
in the interest of our town.
I will observe the provisions of the charter,
I will observe the provisions of the charter,
ordinances and regulations of the town of Tallulah Falls,
ordinances and regulations of the town of Tallulah Falls,
and I will support and defend
and I will support and defend
the constitutions of the state of Georgia
Constitution of the State of Georgia,
and the United States of America.
and the United States of America.
I am not the holder of any office of trust
I am not the holder of any office of trust
under the government of the United States,
under the government of the United States,
any other state,
any other state,
or any foreign state,
or any foreign state,
which I am prohibited from holding
which I am prohibited from holding
by the laws of the state of Georgia.
by the laws of the state of Georgia.
I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public money
I am not the holder of any unaccounted for public money
due this state or any political subdivision
through this state or any other political subdivision
or authority thereof.
or authority thereof.
I have been a resident of the town of Tallulah Falls
I have been a resident of the town of Tallulah Falls
for more than 6 months,
for more than 6 months,
and I am otherwise qualified to hold this office
and I'm otherwise qualified to hold this office
by the Constitution and laws of this state
by the Constitution and laws of this state
and the charter
and the charter
and ordinances of the town of Tallulah Falls.
and the ordinances of the town of Tallulah Falls.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I know, that's, oh, attorney.
An attorney.
Must have. I think the president's over this. All right, we need to amend our agenda to include a wording change in the settlement agreement. So if I can get a motion to add that to our agenda, Scott makes the motion. Craig seconds, all in favor, unanimous, Joey? Yea or nay?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes.
Okay, so that's 4. All right. Then I need a motion to approve the consent agenda. Scott makes the motion, Craig seconds, all in favor?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, let's go ahead and do this real quick. Oh, wait, no, sorry. I got out of order there. I need a motion to approve the agenda as amended. Scott makes the motion.
Second.
Mike seconds, all in favor?
Yes.
Okay, unanimous. Then I need a motion to approve the consent agenda. Scott makes the motion. Mike seconds, all in favor?
Yes.
Unanimous. Thank you. All right, on to the attorney report.
Nothing to report other than, things I'll address when the items come up.
Okay. All right, then we're gonna move into our public hearings. And, at this point, Mike, we're gonna be moving into the public
Yes.
hearings section, so,
Yes, since I was involved with the planning and zoning committee and chaired it the last 2 times, I need to recuse myself from revoting
okay,
on this.
all right. So, first up, we're gonna have the public hearing on the zoning map amendment to correct the legend. And,
Summarize the procedures.
we're gonna get an official list of what we're gonna be doing here now. So, I'll open the hearing for each one, then our zoning administrator will present the description. And then, we'll have the petitioner, which will be the town in all of these, would, be allowed to speak as to why, if they need to. Otherwise, people who support the amendment or support the motion would, speak. Then any people opposed will have equal time to speak. And then, we'll close out the public hearing at that point. If anyone else has, unless the petitioner has something they need to, reboot, they'll have time for rebuttal. So anyway, so we'll start with the, map legend and we'll let Linda.
Okay,
do a
this,
summary.
the first one is, to correct the legend of the official zoning map at the town of Tallulah Falls. There was an error on the map legend when it was reprinted this last time, and for R2, it says on the map, 2-family residential. Our ordinance doesn't acknowledge a two-family residential, it calls R2 multiple family residential, so we just need to make that correction on the map legend. That is my recommendation. Planning and zoning had their public hearing on November 29th, and they have also made a written recommendation to make that correction.
All right, so. Time,
Well, no less than 10 minutes, but
okay. So we'll give up to 10 minutes per, not per person, but per item. For those in support, they'll have 10 minutes for those opposed. So the petitioner really doesn't have much to say on this. It's pretty self-explanatory. So we'll go ahead and open the floor to anyone supporting this amendment to correct the legend for the zoning map. Second person on. Susan, okay.
I'll say something.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, I'm sorry, one other thing, you have to mention your name and where you're living.
Mary Beth Hughes, 455 River Street, and of course I support this. I mean, it just seems like a open shut case. I mean, in the east, you know. So,
So it's just splitting it from saying to two family to multifamily, is that basically it?
Yeah, it's just.
So the discrepancy.
Multiple
So
family.
There'll be multiple family. Oh. Like that.
All right. Anyone else? All right, then we'll go ahead and close out that. That's, yeah, those in support, and open the floor to those who may be opposed. I think Susan's opposed, so won't see anybody. All right, go ahead and close out that portion of the public hearing, and the petitioner doesn't have anything else to contribute, so we'll go ahead and close out the correction for the map legend and move into the transfer of development rights portion of the public hearings.
Okay, this is a text amendment to our zoning ordinance that would add a section for the transfer of development rights. It's not something that we currently have, so it would be an addition to our zoning ordinance. And this would allow transfer of certain development rights on certain properties to other properties. The planning and zoning had their initial meeting, and they had some questions about it. Their first meeting and public hearing was on November 8th. And then they had a workshop and another, voted on their recommendation at the 29th meeting of November. And their recommendation was to deny the transfer of development rights, addition to the ordinance. I believe they thought it was, the way it was originally drafted, it had a lot of transfer that could happen, that they didn't think we wanted to open it quite up that much. So after, my initial recommendation was that we move forward with the transfer of development rights. After hearing the public comments and their discussion, I did recommend, that we, take a closer look at it and narrow those, provisions down some. And so the attorney's office has looked at that and redrafted. Yes, you have those on your table, with the changes from what was out at the original planning and zoning meeting. So those have been narrowed quite a bit. I don't know if you want me to go through those changes or no. Okay.
yeah, too, it's in the packet. Maybe one, so it's fine.
Well, I mean, what they would have is the original ordinance,
Okay,
so.
then, yeah, you can summer that. If you want.
Well, we can get comment first and then discuss it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we're
Yeah, let's
definitely
do
gonna
it.
discuss, so. So as Linda mentioned, we made some changes, so there will be discussion among the council after the hearing. So. Public hearings for public comment, not really for discussion and a whole lot of questions, so. I just wanna throw that out there real quick. We will discuss this one later. So we're gonna go ahead and open the floor for anybody that would like to speak in favor of going forward with the transfer of development rights as we'll talk about later. I know it's a little confusing, but
Yes, because it's hard to say that you're in favor of something when you don't know what it is.
well, you can comment on what exists now. And then when we get into our discussion, we may address those concerns, or we may add those in. So if someone sees something different than what planning and zoning. So, yeah, we got this very last minute.
So the ordinance that was circulated initially, and the one that was before the planning and zoning would be what we're taking the public comments.
So why wouldn't someone have to go through a whole process of don't have a development plan? I'm David Parker, I was on Lycan Road, on the other side of town. So you're transferring rights that someone else has been given to another entity who might purchase the land or something. What is the benefit of the town for that?
Well,
Oh,
That's a
that's a
question.
question.
yeah,
That's the question.
Maybe that doesn't benefit the town.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
okay. Okay, yeah, we hear that. So,
I just-
but that would be an opposition, and that's,
For large, like a large corporation or something comes in and wants to develop, it, they buy someone else's and it kind of gets misconstrued and blown up into something bigger than you might want.
right.
Question mark.
Put that over
Not
for
question mark.
opposition. Put that over to the opposition side right now. We're trying to focus on the support.
Well, I'm just trying to clarify.
Yeah.
So I could support it, but I don't know what the.
Right, yeah, this is gonna be a little. A little odd how we're handling this, sorry.
Sorry, and I'm sorry, I'm not, it's not
There's gonna
personal.
be, yeah, there's gonna be much more, there'll be much more discussion.
I've been in isolation over there for a year, so.
Yeah.
Stepping into it now.
Yeah, and we're trying not to be too formal.
State control.
Yeah. We're trying not to be overly formal about it, but I do want to kind of keep on track if I can, so. Any other in favor? I know, you may not know exactly what we're discussing yet. I don't see anybody else, so we got third. Okay. All right, and then, since there seems to be no more comment in support, we'll go ahead and open the floor to, those that would be opposed. David Hart.
Well, it's not gonna have a passionate opinion either way, but since the planning and zoning board kind of said, no, let's narrow distance, and Linda came back around and said, no, let's narrow distance, that you have narrow language that you have not yet discussed, so at the present moment where you are right now in time, I don't think you should do it.
Should do the,
Amendment, yes.
Okay.
The charter, or you transfer right to.
all right,
But you can convince me if I could ask you question later.
yes,
Okay.
you'll be free to ask. Anybody else opposed? We're gonna note David's as an opposition, but we may be able to persuade you later. I hope we can. Yeah, I hope we can. So, any other opposition online? Let's see. All right, doesn't appear to be any other opposition. We'll go ahead and close out this portion of the public hearing. The petitioner doesn't have any summary remarks or rebuttal at this point, other than to say that there are some changes that do address what they talked about in their meeting, what P and Z did. So hopefully that will shed light on that in a minute. All right, so we'll go ahead and move on to the rezoning for tax parcel 101B064 from an R1 to an R2 multiple family district.
Okay, so this is for an amendment to the official zoning map for parcel 101B064 from R1 to R2. For the purpose of townhomes, on that track. And there's, in your packet, there's, an attachment of to what track we're talking about there on the lake. It's currently undeveloped. And, the signs have been posted, the Planning and Zoning Commission did meet on this on November 8th. They, postponed their vote on it to talk about the TDR ordinance, and then they took it back up after their work session. They had a special call meeting on the 29th, and so their recommendation to, the council was kind of, instead of doing the TDRs, they wanted to create a new zoning district and call it MR2, which would be a higher density R2 district. So that was their recommendation. So it was recommended that it be approved as an MR2. My recommendation was to approve it as the R2 and continue down the TDR avenue, just fix the TDR ordinance.
All right. So some of these things are going to blend together a little bit. So we'll go ahead and begin we'll open the floor for, people in support of the rezoning application to the, original R2. And the petitioner has no comment at this point. So. And again, there'll be some discussion on this later. Would kind of tie together.
No support to the R2 as a lower density versus a higher density.
To the current density allowed in
R2, which is.
Right now it's R1, it's going to R2.
It's been asked to go to the R2, and I forget what the current density is on that, but
5.8
5.8
per acre.
per acre, as opposed to the MR2, which would be 12 per acre.
12 units.
Hmm?
12 units per acre.
Yeah. So,
That's a lot of units.
right.
It seems like to me that this is the avenue in which we need to go, the R2 versus the MR2.
And is that short-term rental? In R2, R2?
Currently, no short-term rentals in R1 or R2, so, or in the MR2 necessarily, but there's a whole other conversation that we need to have for that.
Yeah, I agree on that one.
So, all right. Any more in favor? All right, we'll go ahead and close out the section for support, and we move on to those that are opposed to this reclassification. I don't think any of there gonna oppose. So, all right, we'll go ahead and close out this. There's nothing else the petitioner wants to add at this time. And we can go ahead and move forward. So closing up the public hearing section altogether. And moving on to the next order of business. There is no old business. So we're gonna go ahead and begin the deliberation. Let's go ahead and do the zoning map amendment to correct the legend, since there probably isn't much discussion about that. Unless anybody has. Go ahead.
No, I know, any comment,
You ready?
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Go ahead and make a motion to adopt that amendment.
We have a written ordinance, the motions to approve the written ordinance is in your packet.
So,
Okay, do I need to read any of that? Adopt it, which is good language, okay. All right, so Scott makes that motion. Craig seconds. All in favor?
Yes.
So that's 3 in favor, so that carries, and Mike is abstaining, so. All right, now we're gonna go on and we're gonna move to the transfer, the TDR discussion, but we can also include, while we're talking about trying to figure some of this out, the amendment to rezone that tax parcel. So let's go ahead and put out there what the changes were that we added. Huh?
I can pull it up on my email, but my phone is currently.
I got it wrong. Well, I will say I wasn't able to participate and I couldn't watch the zoning meeting, their workshop. I wasn't able to watch it. So I know that in conversations with different zoning commissioners, they were a little bit worried about this development rights transfer language. And I think we've addressed that with these changes that Warren made and added in. One of those is about the direction that you can send development rights. They didn't want development rights to come from a higher density area and be applied to a lower density area. So that's one of them. What was that?
I don't think there was any changes to definitions, receiving area, eligibility.
There was a change to say that we removed the part about public land not being able to send or receive. It is a one directional thing, meaning it goes, like you can go from R1 transferring rights to business, but you couldn't, for example, go business to R1. It's a one directional transfer. So sort of to answer one of the questions that was raised about that is what benefit is it to the town? Well, to some extent, the benefit there is this was originally a land conservation statute, which is it encourages and incentivizes people who leave low density land kind of undeveloped or conservative. But whereas they have a right to develop that land and may otherwise choose to do so, you're allowing them to move those development rights to another parcel, which development may make sense on, such as something in a business district area or somewhere that there's already development occurring.
those rights, they transfer with the sale or anything like that, or turn over.
So that's the other thing. This ordinance would accomplish a severing of the development rights. So right now you can't, in other words, you can't give development rights to another parcel, but even if you did, let's say through a condition of zoning, you allowed somebody to develop a higher density over here under the idea that it's going to be a lower density over here. The problem is if that property sells and they're just able to develop the one over here.
And that's in our language.
Yeah. If you have this though, and you transfer from this property to this property, then whoever buys the one that transferred the rights gets it subject to whatever the.
Yeah, there's language that says that the sending property has to submit, I don't know, an amendment to the deed or,
Yeah, something like that for,
something and file it with the courthouse, that will travel then. So let's say in an R1, you can put 1.9 units per acre. And someone says, well, I want to send that 0.9 out. Well, now that you can only do the one. So from then on, whoever owns it, even if it sells in the future.
so it would have to be amended in the deed, and we would have to oversee that, make sure we get a copy of that.
We have to keep a registry
Okay,
ourselves and any development rights that have been transferred.
Right.
it's 20 years from now, yeah.
That's what we're trying to avoid. Yeah, so that gets addressed. If we keep the records here. And, yeah,
So we'll probably, if you want me to, I can go through the eligibility and restrictions, and that will probably answer most of the questions, and that's where most of the changes, I think, came from.
yeah, go ahead.
All right, so under eligibility and restrictions, transferable development rights are subject to the following eligibility requirements. So any parcel from which all development rights have been previously sold or transferred shall be ineligible to send or receive. So if they've already sold or transferred their rights, they can't sell anymore and they can't get any back. Any parcel on which a conservation easement, a legally binding agreement between the property owner and a governmental body or charitable organization qualified under OCGA 4410-2. They restrict the type and amount of development and use that may take place on a property. That's just the description of the conservation easement. Or other permanent deed restriction has been previously granted shall be ineligible to receive or send TDRs. So no conservation easement or permanent deed restriction. Any parcel fully developed based on its existing zoning shall be ineligible to send or receive. Any parcel or portion of a parcel that has been designated and zoned as sensitive land or flood hazard area district shall be ineligible as a receiving area, or they could send but not receive. Any parcel zoned as a flood hazard district shall be ineligible to send or receive, so that was listed as, but
For receiving.
for, yeah, so they can't, flood hazard can't send or receive. Sensitive can send, but not. Any property zone PUD shall be ineligible to send or receive. Any land within riparian buffers mandated by state or local law shall be ineligible to send or receive. And then the following restrictions also apply to the transfer development rights. So property zoned R1 may not transfer development rights to other properties zoned R1. Property zoned R1 may only transfer development rights to property with a higher density. Next is property zoned R2 may transfer development rights to property zoned R2 or higher. Property zoned business district or highway business may transfer development rights to only property zoned as business district or highway business. And the maximum density allowed shall not exceed 12 units per acre. So those are all, that kind of narrowed the problems with the first one, if that makes sense. It was wide open on the first one. You could transfer back and forth. Anything.
You could
So,
theoretically get rights.
May I ask who proposed the first ordinance?
it was just a draft. It probably came from, chances are, another city. I mean, the attorney's office worked on it, but I'm sure they probably,
The attorney's office.
our attorney's office. worked on it.
Hey,
Okay.
Just you.
Nobody on the bus.
the reason she says the attorney's office is the real credit to a lot of this drafting goes to another lawyer in the office that sort of was doing a lot of work on this. So if you remember Samantha, who came to the last meeting, Samantha was the one who was spending most of the time on it. Or I reviewed it, but I think the reason she didn't just say, well, it's that guy over there is because Sam did a lot of work on it. There was a lot of back and forth and collaboration between, we would send drafts, we would discuss, talk to Linda, Sam talked to Linda, we took into account planning and zoning's concerns. To answer the question of who proposed first draft, I mean, we came up with it.
Is there a reason you've come up with, is there other towns doing this? Is there a purpose to this?
Yeah, there are other towns that are doing it, and Linda's right. I mean, I believe that the starting point, Quentin stole one from another town.
Yeah, nothing's ever original.
Why not just have the people go through the normal channels to get changing the zoning and instead of transferring rights?
This one, there's a specific.
I
purpose.
think I know the purpose. Oh, right.
You can mention the mediation.
Is there an agenda behind this or?
I mean,
Yeah, this is kind of part of the beginning steps of completing our agreement with a developer and making sure that we make movement on that.
So could they transfer their business rights they have on my side of the lake to a property over here?
Currently, if I understand correctly, right now, I think that's under a conservation easement. And so, like, this would say no right now.
The old dairy business,
Yeah,
conservation.
I believe
So
so.
land on the lake is not conservation, because that's all done business.
Yeah, that's all business. Yeah, that section may not be under conservation.
so if it was business, it could transfer to business, but not to residential or R2 or whatever.
So that 50-acre parcel, is that correct?
I mean, without looking, they've got some conservation
East is
land,
on
so,
business land.
right.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I don't know all
I
the
specifically.
details, I don't keep up with it.
Mike Herbshot, did the amendment that she has proposed, did it cover y'all's concerns?
Yes.
It did, okay.
And so, yeah, I talked to Christie, Christie and I talked about this on planning and zoning shepherd.
Yeah.
And she brought that up before they even had their first meeting, and,
So these
that's
changes
how this came
seem to
in.
cover their concerns?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how that came in. I told her, like, look, you don't have to accept the document that's presented to you. Y'all's job is to make some recommendations and offer changes. So,
And they didn't accept it and we amended it.
right.
Okay.
It's not just a free for all. I mean, the process here is somebody who wants to send the development rights would have to make an application. And there's some discretion involved in that. Got to sort of fit within the ordinance and the character areas and stuff. So, basically it's gonna get analyzed. It's not just a thing where you come down and fill out paperwork. It's done.
So it goes back through planning and zoning and the council again?
No, this time it just goes to the zoning administrator, I believe.
And then if somebody doesn't like the outcome, triggers an appeal to the Board of Zoning Appeals, which
And the transfer of these rights is gonna be recorded in the public record.
it'll be both in the real estate records and we'll maintain a registry here.
Yes,
City Hall.
So
in the public records where you can find it,
Yes,
in the chain of title.
GSCCA, anybody that wants to go do a title search. can see it.
yeah, that's another change that was added in here, we'll get to in just a minute, is title search. So, but you'll notice that in our amendment, in our agenda package, when we send out, there's a zoning administrator's report. So if the zoning administrator gets an application to transfer rights, that'll show up in the agenda packet, which then if someone has an opposition to, they could come in and say, hey, whoa, I don't know about this, or tell me more. So,
Yeah, well, that was to address another concern that planning and zoning had, which was, so what happens if there's a security deed on the property? Development rights get transferred, somebody quits paying the note, then there's a foreclosure. Well, in theory, then you somebody gonna have to figure that one out. Right? So what we've done is just sidestep that whole issue by saying, okay, if there's a secured interest or easement interest or some other interest, then you've got to provide, lender consent or whatever in order to transfer the rights.
So what's the procedure now? Is this going back to P and Z and coming back for another consideration, or are you gonna?
Well, that's kind of what we need to get some public comment on. Are these changes, do they meet everyone's expectation? Or do you need some more time to think about it? For the
Well,
council
P
to
and
talk
Z
about?
people who had concerns about this here.
One, yeah, because.
Yeah, the one who recused
The one who
himself, I got you.
Correct. So yeah, that's and a question for Warren, just, whether we need to send that back or if this is adequate, but the ultimate decision will be for the
Of
council.
course it will be. You just gotta do it procedurally correct, so you're not subject to collateral attack.
Right.
You can make, one of a number of decisions on this. If you truly don't like this mechanism of accomplishing, the objectives, then you could table, you could deny. If you wanted to approve it tonight, you can approve it tonight too. It doesn't have to go back to P and Z. If you want to go back to P and Z, you can do that too. But procedurally, it is right. There's no issue with y'all voting on it.
So, one more question. So what is the scenario in this case for the settlement to, what transfer of rights will happen unless if this were enacted with the Urbans?
There'll be a transfer.
From where to where?
I would anticipate 5 lots on the,
Think we know them.
Or anything?
well, yeah, I mean, it's, when you go around the bend, there's 4 lots and there's 5 lots.
Yeah.
There's one tax parcel,
Yeah.
technically, but, Matt, the idea being 5 lots sends forward.
So this is where we have that dual conversation. So if we rezone the R1 to an R2, right now maximum density is 5.9 units per acre. It's a roughly 1 acre lot. So they'd have to transfer enough of the R1 building rights over in order to meet their 12 unit need. It's another reason that we have the maximum 12 units per acre language in here, is to address that and to limit how much that can happen.
Are these like attached units or detached units?
They'll be attached, but in 2 separate structures that have a breezeway between.
Just curious. Okay.
So for example, I think they have 1 acre or 1 lot on the other lots that they're gonna be using for, to address some septic issues. So they wouldn't be able to build on that, so they're gonna transfer, I'm assuming, rights from that part, septic right out. So no, not septic rights, just being able to build units on, okay, density issues. Yeah, we're this all about density.
Yeah.
So. Problem with doing that, I started seeing with doing an MR2 or anything like that, where we cap the density per acre at like 12 units per acre. Well, then you kind of open the floodgates for other properties to suddenly be able to put 12 units per acre by just getting rezoned. Whereas this, you have to have something to transfer. You have to lose your right here to be able to do more over here. So to me, it makes more sense. Because then you would.
Are we still in the public comment phase?
We're in the public discussion, not like public comment, but since we're more relaxed than most, yes, we're still. We're not in the public hearing stage.
But yeah.
I feel you should vote. You put a lot of thought into this, right?
Yeah, I just need to see if the council has any more concerns or ideas.
Just a question under, in the documents that we have in front of us, it's under MR2. But it's the chart, table 2. Table 2 is the same as it would be for R1, is that correct? Or R2? Or is this chart specifically for MR2?
No, that's, the chart you're looking at is what's in our current ordinance.
That's what I thought, but then maybe I'm wrong on this one, but it says that for R1, maximum units per acre is 1.9, is that correct? It says 2.9.
I'll have the chart.
It's table 2, under section 1502, lot requirements.
It would, yeah,
Is that a typo? Or is it really 2.9?
I think it is 2.9 because theoretically you could have,
I thought we've always talked about 1.9.
that's what I was thinking too. Must have been an error.
Now, where did you say 1.9?
Well,
No,
it says,
we've been saying.
it says 2.9, but we've always
I've been saying 1.9.
1.9 ever since we've
So I
been
was like,
discussing all of this. That's all.
That may be my error.
I just needed clarification, but I mean, we've always said 1.9.
I think I've been the one spreading that rumor.
Okay.
So, sorry.
It's all good.
Sorry about that. Okay, so it's 2.9, because you would theoretically be able to do, half acre lots with a septic system if you had access to public water. So I think that's a state EPD issue, and so that would make more sense to be 2 something. Jimmy was here when it was done, so can't remember that far back. He was mayor when a lot of this was written up. So,
Again, I just wanted clarification.
thanks, yeah, that's.
Yeah.
my
R1
error.
is 2.9, R2 is 5.8.
Okay,
Still kind of blending.
thank you.
So, unfortunately, I don't have the entire ordinances memorized yet.
Well, you're close to it.
So,
Personally, I would be ready to vote.
okay.
I think I've got enough information.
All right, so let's address the one last change that I'm aware of, and that was number 7. Where, in section 2306, it says the cost of a title search, these are what the eligible landowner would have to provide to the zoning administrator. And the cost of the title search, which is to be done by an attorney of the zoning administrator's choosing. And the title search, should the title search reveal any secured interest in the property, including but not limited to security deeds, easements, encumbrances, the landowner or authorized representative must provide a letter of authorization or consent from the holders of such interest, which authorizes the transfer of development rights. Such authorization or consent must be in writing, signed by the party with the power to make such an authorization and be notarized. This is the idea that, like Warren was saying, if a bank owns it and they transfer all the rights out, then the bank, theoretically, the property may be useless and loses all value. And then they stop making payments on the land. So, no, can't do that. You also have it targets some other potential issues. And that was one that Chrissy, I'm sure, had, because I think that's kind of what she does for a living. She does something to do with banks and real estate, I think.
Now, there is one thing that, Linda asked me about toward the end of it. It's that same paragraph Mike was just talking about. The one right above that, section 2306(6), the processing fee is established by the zoning administrator. The idea there being, if she's going to be the one analyzing it, at least initially, she set a fee, but our process is to set fees by ordinance. we have a different fee schedule. If y'all wanted to make that, amendment, then we would have to amend ordinance dealing with the fee schedule and set a fee for it. I think, either one is probably fine, but just understand that right now she's gonna have the ability to set that fee and some amount of cover whatever the cost of work is going to be.
Or we strike it. And then. Strike this.
I mean, or we could set a fee, but I don't know what fee that would be.
Yeah, and I don't know either. So the idea, you'll also know this has got a delayed implementation date, comes effective January 11th. So that we've had some time to put together the application and come up with a fee. So, yeah, so that's why we said it that way. But, you could strike it. You're gonna want a processing fee. It's just a question of how much and whether this is something that you like that language or you want different.
Amend it later, though, correct?
You can amend it later.
Yeah. Once you get time to research. Okay, you're thinking.
5,000 what?
The toilets fee.
If
Some people have a clearance fee.
I would probably recommend leaving it the way that it is. I mean, Linda's not gonna do something that y'all don't like, right? So, I think there's some input. If we need to,
And we could definitely bring it up at the next meeting.
Yeah.
it does, right?
All right, so. On that note. I'm not gonna ask for. A motion one way or the other. I'm gonna ask for someone to make a motion. Whether to approve or send back or. What do y'all wanna do? Y'all wanna move forward, go ahead and vote and adopt this? Or do you wanna send it back to P and Z?
I think based on the information we have and what was given to us by P and Z, that I think we should make a motion to adopt as we first suggested.
Okay.
And by, as we heard through this.
No.
It's to R2.
No, I mean.
No,
no,
we're on the.
Oh, I'm the wrong one now. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, we're on transfer development rights.
Oh,
Right
yeah,
now.
I'll make, I think we're fine.
And it's, the version that we.
The amended
Right,
version.
the amended.
Okay, so Scott's making a motion that we go ahead and adopt the amended version of the TDR ordinance. And add it to our zoning.
I'll say.
Craig seconds. All in favor?
Yes.
Roll reduce as 3 and one abstaining. All right, then the final deliberation is rezoning the tax parcel from R1 to R2. So we won't be doing the MR2 on that. I don't know if there's any more discussion, any more input on that. 'Cause it kind of, like I said, it kind of flow together. So
I'll go ahead and make a motion to adopt, the change from R1 to R2,
all right, on that tax parcel.
Motion to approve the ordinance.
to approve the
In
ordinance.
packet.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so Scott makes that motion. We have a second. Joey or Craig?
Yes.
So, okay, Joey makes a second to that motion. All in favor? Unanimous. Or 3 and then 1 abstaining. So we have Joey, he seconded, so I'm assuming it was.
Joey, is your vote yes?
Yes.
Thank you. Just for clerical reasons. All right, then we're gonna move on to our Planning and Zoning Commission appointments. And I spoke with, we have David Parker back here in the back row. He lives, like I said, off White Camp Road. He reached out and we talked for a little while. And I've been talking to him he reached out to me 4 years ago, I believe.
Georgia Power starting, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still are doing it too.
Yeah, they've disrupted his life, so, anyway, he has generously offered to fulfill the, seat, one of the seats. What we need to talk about is the other one, Sissy Henry, we need to reappoint her. So we need to decide whether we reappoint Sissy back to her position or put David in that position and then appoint Sissy to take Mike's position.
I think we should.
It does matter.
It matters, so.
Let me give you the,
All right, give us the detail.
let me give you the. All right, Sissy's old seat.
And this isn't chair, they decide their own officer positions. We're not
Right.
This is
officer.
all about the length
Right.
they have left.
Exactly.
So her term would end July of 2025. Mike's ends July 2026. Okay, that's only two, I think, right?
So year and a half versus 2.5 years.
Yeah, I still think we should bring Sissy back to her original position, and then David should replace Mike. That would be my suggestion.
Yeah, and I like that David, wanted to try to, the reason I nominated David after, because I'm trying to keep people from other parts of town.
Yeah, that's,
And so we've
that's a
got,
huge plus.
yeah, so we've got two currently from, Hippie Nut Mountain. Then we've got one, we have had one from down here in our area, which Sissy's from Tugelo Village Road, and then, they would be from Y Camp.
Harry.
And Harry and Christie are the two on Hickory Nut. I'm trying to remember the other. Yeah, who's it with? Brain's going slack.
Yeah.
Allie from out of the school. That's right. We just appointed her last week or last month. So we got someone from the school, we got someone from Tugelo Village, someone from Y Camp and two from Hickory Nut Mountain. I feel like it's a good representation of the town. So. All right, then,
You have handled this already, but, Kurt, with you being sworn into council, have you already resigned?
Yes.
yes, we have this. Works. So. All right, so need to get a motion to appoint in that designation Sissy back to her original seat and David to fill Mike Herbshots. So Scott makes that motion. Craig seconds, all in favor?
Yes.
That's unanimous. All right. All right, thank you, David. We'll, get with Linda. She'll get you all set up. You'll get an official town email address for communications. And, they have a meeting. Well, she'll put you on when the next meeting is.
Nothing set date every month, is that
I
correct?
think it's the second Wednesday every month.
Once a month I can do that, yeah.
You got it.
Sometimes more, but.
Yeah.
Like last month, I got 3, but that's unusual. We had a lot going on, obviously.
Yeah.
And a quorum is 3, so you can miss every once in a while.
What is that now?
So the quorum is 3, so.
I do a long commute 3 days a week, so, but I'm here. That was a short commute to Mountain Rest to go look at you, so. It's your worst.
All right, we have a budget amendment next on the agenda. Hand that over to our budget here.
Alright. So this is a budget amendment addressing the school zone camera fund. So there were some things that you all had approved in our last year budget towards the end of the year that did not get purchased, some of the fire equipment, some of the police equipment. So if you look in the 4th column there, it says 2023 leftover. And there's, in the green, there's some, well, the green, the yellow, and a little bit of the blue. there's some leftover funds, so I wanted to add those to the current budget. So they can get those things still taken care of. And then, there were some additional, requests that we needed to address on the insurance for our new officer that, is gonna be higher than what we had put in the budget. We pay for half the dependent coverage, and there is dependent coverage in that one, so I need to up that one. And then on vehicle repairs, the Tahoe is being covered under this fund, and it's had an enormous amount of repairs lately. So we're still waiting on the new Tahoes to come in, but, so we needed to add to that one as well. And then Tanya has requested $20,000. There's behind the budget amendment, there's a list. And that's, to cover those items.
And again, it's vehicles, right? We've agreed to purchase 2 vehicles, okay? Even though it specifies 1 vehicle in the budget. It's not plural, but it's one.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah, it's supposed to be 2. Well, yeah, the original budget would have said 1, she came back in and she asked for a second later, so we just didn't include in that budget.
yeah, actually,
Are we any closer on that? Have you heard anything?
and we issued the purchase orders on them, so.
I just don't know, we haven't heard.
We do, actually, I'm glad you brought that up because
I thought that's why you were here tonight, make sure that we can ask you questions. I will say this, though, I've been after Tanya to give me specs for a new desktop for her for several years now, because the one she's got is trash. You concur? Okay. You can't, takes him 5 hours to do a 5-minute report.
And actually, that doesn't, I'm glad you saw that, because each one is about 54,000, something like that.
40.
So the 65 it was just for one, so we do need to probably double that for the outfit and everything.
So we've got to adjust that.
So, yeah, I need to,
Vehicles, yeah.
we could double that number. 130.
And I get just clarification. But in this amendment number 1, we've got contract labor recruitment retention at $6,000. That was the figure we had for 2023 also, is that correct?
I don't have 23s, but there was, I don't think it was in 23s, because there's no leftover money there.
So the question I have is, why do we have that? Why do we need additional contract labor if we brought Chris on?
This is on, fire department. Are you in the gray?
Oh, is it? Oh, it is. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. And I didn't
Because we
realize.
need more firefighters.
Well, I didn't realize, I mean, it's a volunteer position, so I'm surprised that we bring in any additional labor. I never knew that existed.
Well, I don't think we do.
Well, it's in the budget.
It was in recruitment and retention.
I don't see anything on that line on mine. I'm not seeing it.
52.3850.
Yeah, there's nothing there, it's 0.
The 2024 budget is 6,000.
Which budget are you?
I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm looking at law enforcement. Sorry. So you were in fire and housing, law enforcement.
Yeah, and again, I made the same mistake, so
It's $6,000 for fire retention and recruitment. And that was for your,
and that's
For your
not
meeting.
new, that we've already approved that.
Really?
or no, that's the 6,000 is for your, what y'all do at the end of the evening.
Oh, okay.
'Cause y'all,
Yeah,
depending on their,
that used to
how much
be,
they attend.
it used to be a, it was intended when that was started was for, wear and tear on vehicles for volunteer firefighters. For using their vehicles to go to calls or go training and do stuff like that. And that, we had some issues with it because it was going through payroll. And so taxes were being taken out. So we've limited it to $600 maximum per firefighter based on some standards that we came up with. And, we included in the budget. I didn't realize it was under. So that would be sort of contract labor, because that's how we're gonna treat it as a contract agreement. So, yeah, that's what. So,
But if it was treated as expenses, that wouldn't be taxed as an expense reimbursement?
our accountant explained well.
Well, not if they were keeping up their mileage and turning their mileage in. The problem is we had one that was keeping up their mileage and
Yeah.
turning their mileage.
I turned my
in. That was
mileage
it.
in, I turned my mileage in one year, no one else did, and I would have taken the whole pot, and that didn't seem fair. So we didn't do any payouts that year, and, we made
Yeah,
some modifications.
I was just curious.
Yeah, that's what that's for, is to help. Hopefully encourage some more volunteers to come in if we can get, help them cover some of their expense. So,
And again, now with this also, we're finally gonna be moving closer to purchasing new radios.
yeah, if that's included in there, definitely.
It is. And
Yeah, then we've
The
got,
money's there.
Decisions.
I don't know that it's gonna happen this year, but
we may do it it may happen this year, but I know that they finally, are they started the tower at the orchard?
I didn't hear what was.
Well, the verdict, the judge denied the injunction, so supposedly they can move forward with that. What I understand is we've got about 18 months from the time they first turned dirt. 18 months to
They
24
were poured
months.
concrete up there, and HMC's already up there to put fiber in, so.
Okay, so they're moving forward, so we'll have to make a final decision. I have narrowed the conversation down on what we need. And found out that we're gonna need what they call a dual band radio, which does exist. We just I need to get someone to do demonstration. I think there's another city that's wanting to do it also, Emerson Baldwin or somebody is wanting to do something similar, so we're kind of, work together on figuring out what's gonna work. And we'll,
Different kinds of radios we use.
but yeah, that's definitely still in the works. I just wanted to get further down the road before we start bringing in third parties and subcontractors. And we also got to figure out the maintenance fees. So that's gonna be another conversation, but that maintenance fee estimate is in that total. That's what that's supposed to help cover, so. Anything else on the budget amendments?
any other questions?
Uh,
There'll be another year in. This is kind of a mid-year.
Now we've got the improvements for the Rock House for renovation.
Mhm.
Will that happen in 2024?
It should begin in 2024. We're still waiting for a site survey, or a site survey.
But this figure is,
That's a really rough estimate, just because we had something.
okay, so we can anticipate more possibly.
Yeah, we'll have to put it out to bid.
Okay.
So we'll have a better idea of what that is. We can adjust the budget accordingly later. So,
Oh, I got
okay. All right, do we have a motion to amend our budget?
I'll make the motion.
All right, Scott makes the motion. Second.
Second.
Okay, Joey seconds, all in favor? Joey?
Yeah, second, so yeah.
Yes, so yes, okay. All right, unanimous. All right, then we're gonna move to an application for a alcohol license for beer and liquor consumption on premise and growler shop for off premise consumption.
So this one, they've got a new manager or licensee that they want named for Tallulah Adventure. She has gone for her fingerprinting this past Monday. Chris went to go try to get me the results today. They said they don't run them until Friday, so I don't actually have them yet. But if, do it conditional on,
Yeah, I can make a motion to accept the conditional upon the results.
Good. It worked.
All right, so motion's made. We have a second. Mike makes a second. All in favor? Unanimous here. Joey?
Yeah,
Yes. Okay. Joey, I really appreciate you hanging in there with us. All right, so we're gonna move on to an alcohol ordinance amendment. Tallulah Adventure reached out, said that they wanted to do a New Year's Eve party this year. Well, New Year's Eve is on Sunday. And all of our ordinance shuts off sales at 11 o'clock, 7 days a week. So they wanted to see if we could get an extension. They wanted to go till 2 o'clock. We put in this one so that we could have a discussion, maybe 12:30. But then I found out that there's actually some state rule that doesn't allow us, because we're not big enough, to go past 12 on a Sunday, I think. So
bigger places have the option to do a once a year Sunday extension past the 12, but we don't come close to that population. What was that, 100,
100,000, 160,000.
160,000?
Jeez, yeah. Apparently Clayton has some extension. I don't know about Sunday, but
Yeah,
for a New Year's thing, that's why they reached out to us.
the quirkiness of this is that technically it's midnight,
It's Monday.
it's Monday, so it's no longer a Sunday issue. So the Sunday sales ordinance, but then, well, I don't think that's the way the law treats it. I don't think it's really recognized that, because it does actually govern, take New Year's Eve out of it. If it's just a Sunday, it does govern your times for the sale of alcohol is ending at midnight. And then it picks back up, I guess, like if it was midnight on Tuesday, which became Wednesday morning, then there's a time when you can start sales during the week. And so this is in that quirky little window that's sort of in between.
I mean, basically, right now, they can buy liquor up until 11 o'clock and then wait an hour and then buy more.
No, because you can't start sales until I think it's 11 the next day.
So they just have to buy enough at 11 o'clock PM to last until 11 in the morning.
No, because our ordinance also says, because they asked about pre-sales. They did ask. And when you look at it, our ordinance currently says that they have to, after sales end, all alcohol has to be consumed or disposed of 45 minutes later. Okay. So they have 45 minutes to finish up whatever they had, so. I don't want to see funnels over there. And
So is there nothing we can do then?
we can make a change where they can go till midnight on New Year's, well, 12:30. 12:30 or no, midnight.
Yeah, it's midnight, right?
It'd have to be midnight, on New Year's Day, or we could go ahead and change all our ordinances to midnight every day. I don't know. But,
The one that we have drafted says
the midnight on New Year's would be the one exception. So,
Well, no, it says,
But
it
that's
says till 12:30 on New Year's, except if it falls on a Sunday, then it's midnight.
because we could regulate on other days.
Yeah, the idea being that if this is gonna be a regular thing, rather than having to come back and do it every year, it just says it's 12:30, which is, there was some reason why that, I think somebody suggested it be
Yeah, I just-
12:30.
I just,
12:30 could be different.
Yes, you can make it whatever, but in other words, it'll be that for all New Year's Eve in the future until y'all change it.
Right, except
Except
Sunday
this year.
is 12.
so their original request was to go to 2, which we could do if it wasn't a Sunday. So,
But it's a Monday and stuff.
Yeah.
What is our, how early can you go just during the week? I'm just curious. What are the serving hours during the week? So I don't,
You know, there's a.
is there any ordinance?
What is our ordinance?
Our-
11 to 11 is what ours.
Okay, so it's our ordinance, so the rule not state, right?
Stays like 3 or 4 in the morning, I think, stay. But most places, it's the same thing.
So we extend up to 12. Can we also modify for New Year's that it begins earlier?
Not on Sunday.
Yeah, not on
Well,
Sunday.
it won't be Sunday, it'll be Monday.
Oh, you mean New Year's Day?
Yeah.
New Year's Day.
Yeah,
Early
so
New Year's Day.
It has to end at midnight.
You can start serving at 12:01.
Well, right now it's 11 AM, but could we modify that?
I think 11, I think
The
is,
state law?
I think.
There is a state.
I know on Sunday it's a state law.
Yeah,
It's not 11, it's
But
12.
it's because of Monday.
let me grab Joey by the neck here. Yeah, they're picking my phone, look at something.
Now, is that solely for sales or consumption? The time frame,
We're currently talking about consumption.
Consumptions.
because oh, that's a different animal than sales.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, package, by the package is governed differently.
So they couldn't buy like a New Year's party pass, like let's say for $50 to go to drink until they close the doors.
Right, because they have to stop, when they stop sales, governed by what we establish, they have to, have all the alcohol put away, locked up, no more after, within 45 minutes.
I come from a different land.
Yeah,
And package sales, you can't drink on premise
Yeah.
either, so.
they can buy a growler.
Yeah, this would not be discussed at all.
Go around the block.
You could buy it 24 hours a day.
Unless you go.
So when Warren and I were looking at us, while he's looking at that, Augusta chose their one Sunday as Super Bowl Sunday, and now the bars are furious
Oh, goodness, because they can't do it. on-
because they can't do it.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
All they gotta do is get the guts and actual.
But Athens extended theirs.
I just think we need to give them every fighting chance we can. Especially if, north or south of here.
I'm curious to see what happens with Clayton, because any case in Clayton, it's theoretically has to stop and then on Sunday unless the New Year's language, I don't know. The language is.
Well, they wouldn't have enough to justify either, as far as population. Right. So I wonder how they're doing. Again, is that county or city? Would be under Clayton?
Clayton would be the same.
What's the enforcement? Probably don't even have enforcement.
Yeah, see, there it is.
Well, the state,
Yeah.
the state has some things and they can enforce.
I'm not seeing anything at the moment. What's it going to do? Why?
Would you like to look at it on my phone?
Did you find it?
You might go by what the county ordinance said. They says something, but it also says in there that you can go by the county ordinance.
Well, but in this case, it'd be our ordinance.
The city has a priority.
But you don't have a thing to change that ordinance. You don't have enough people to change that ordinance, what you said just a second ago, so you could go off what Raven did in the ordinance.
I don't think Raven, their ordinance wouldn't apply into Little Falls.
In Raven County, it would.
No, well, and the reason being, for matters like this.
That's what it said on the Georgia side.
Yeah. No, I mean, I hear you. It's,
Yeah, the state allows the city to pass ordinances to sell or not sell on Sunday, because that's how Clayton, they would sell on Sunday in Reagan County, you couldn't.
Yeah, I don't think Reagan County allows
They don't allow package.
package sales at all.
Wait, you can do it, you can.
Really?
Yeah,
And
here,
here,
here now, the town's able to make the decision that they allow the county to. That's the change, it passes that.
That's what I meant by I'm not seeing anything in there where it says there's a state mandated across the state, it's gotta be a certain time. I think it's probably whatever
In the
the
morning.
ordinance,
so we theoretically could stop
could
sales
change.
at midnight on Sunday
And start them up
and
on.
allow an early startup on Monday, New Year's Day. Yeah, 12.
now,
Well, well,
let me, let me see. What I would recommend, just to keep this on track, is we can talk about our other 3 items and come back to this one. And see if I can get a better answer than.
Okay. All right. So we'll, let me get a motion to table this for right now. Scott makes a motion. There's a second. Mike seconds. All in favor? There's 3. So we'll go ahead and table this discussion for right now. We'll pick it back up later in the meeting. Want to go ahead and, move on to our drone usage agreement with Habersham County. Battalion Chief Garrett is here with us. Garrett, right? Yeah. Yeah. Is with us tonight.
My real name,
Yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm not gonna go by your nickname, unless you want to introduce yourself that way, that's fine. We all know it by a different name in the fire services. Known him for probably close to 20 years now. We've been working together to come and help us all sorts of things. So he's the one that suggested some changes to the drone agreement. If y'all have any questions, he can answer those. I don't know our attorney's opinion of the Habersham agreement and recommendations.
I didn't really have a problem with it. It started out with, it was gonna be the same thing we did in Raven. And then they had a couple of changes, because I guess Raven has a licensed drone pilot. The FAA allows local governments to operate a drone program under what's called a waiver, where you don't have to have a license. The actual pilot doesn't have to, there's some parameters to that, but so Habersham wanted to make it where they could fly under either a license or a waiver, I guess, to, you know, it allowed more people to be able to use it. You know, either ones are, they're legitimate, so it doesn't really matter in my opinion. And then there was some other things that the county attorney wanted in there that really were stylistic. He improved, I guess, what we had done. There were some things that we were using acronyms for, that we specified out, things like that. You know, at the end of the day, I mean, I'm comfortable with the agreement we've got before you for Habersham.
Make a motion to accept the agreement as is.
Okay.
Motion.
I'll second it.
I've got seconds. All in favor?
Yes.
It's unanimous. All right.
I want some questions.
You're one question. I spent all my time
What's the
sitting there.
difference between this and that blood?
Yeah. Well, if our attorney had had questions, that's what,
Yeah.
where it would have come in.
Sounds like he got his research, but I got about 8 years of the research. I've been plowing for 8 years. And then, well, yeah,
We appreciate
Did I
y'all.
get that right? Y'all applying under a waiver?
I'm a 107, which is through the FAA, where the other, that's an old part of the drone system.
Okay,
That's where you used to go through the waiver from them. And you could say, well, you're a drone pilot today, where I had to go through the FAA to get my.
Yeah.
Where they can go through that and come in and say, hey, you're a drone pilot today.
even though you had no idea.
Like you don't have a clue.
As long as they don't crash it, right?
Yeah, it happens.
It does happen.
That's right.
Well, this was, you know, we've dealt with it some in other cities, but this was sort of new to me, but we did one with Raven, and then, yeah, we basically were just gonna duplicate it for all of them.
That's what we had planned though, with Raven County and ours to be same. And, Mike, they up there wasn't using a 107, which they are 107 pilot too. But there's a few things on the waiver side that you can get by with more, like out of the line of sight, which you can't get out of 1,500 foot up anyway, 2580 or something like that. But like if they all want to have something in the town of Tallulah Falls to fly a drone, they can't do it. You have to come in here, like say y'all having like me and Mike talked about, say, y'all wanted a video made. They can't do that. You have to have 107. It's just weird. It's just weird.
So then I guess I either had it backwards or maybe it wasn't right in terms of the licensing.
Right.
Everybody's here, at least in Haversham and Raven, everybody's licensed. It's just,
A different entity,
yeah.
kind of. But we are gonna get a waiver to fly out of the line of sight. But we had to get the drone to register.
Or you gotta get it registered. So we don't have a copy of Donnie's signature on it, do we? Will he be the one to sign
Donnie?
it? Yeah.
No,
Or do we want to?
I have the count, the manager, I think I gotta go in front of them.
We'll go to that.
See if they're all aware of it.
Right. All right. So, yeah, still can't take it with you just yet.
Yeah, I gotta get that stuff. It's gonna take at least 2 months to get all the stuff for the insurance like that. That's why I was
Right.
asking if we could go ahead and take possession of it. And we're not gonna fly it. We've got one already. Until because I was gonna get the insurance done and registered and all that stuff. That's what that was.
you know, if we had if the county had already signed the
Right. Oh, yeah.
agreement, then sure. I'd like to have some paperwork, but I think once they approve it and sign it.
Yeah, it's gonna be, we waited since August. I mean, what's another month?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and in terms of when you start flying it and stuff, I mean,
It's gonna be 2 months.
I hear what you're saying, yeah.
That ain't benefiting nobody.
I think Chief probably wants it out of her office.
She doesn't.
All right, so, I'll sign that. We have a copy I can send with him. We want to send that with him or is there send him a copy?
Oh, we would need a copy for her. I'll need to send Donnie a copy of. Or,
No, you don't have to send Donnie anything. It's going, he's already okayed it.
well, sign it, give it to him, but.
Then I can take it to the commissioners and they can see what they're gonna do.
All right, if you don't mind, to put your ties, because just waiting for a call to come in and have to get up and run. Are you on duty tonight?
No.
Oh, okay.
You said we go run?
Yeah.
Exterminator in there. Got an exterminator sitting right there next to you.
did shoot one of y'all.
Don't have a taser? Pepper spray?
Can you leave the dates till they sign? right?
What's that, yeah.
No, it's you.
Yeah, they'll sit there till Wednesday, because that's when the cleaning crew comes in.
Oh, you can get it up.
Before that, I didn't clean it up. Everybody got.
Hey, you need a job in the corner?
Y'all need the county need a new coroner?
Well, hey, y'all might need one now. They don't have one forever again.
They don't?
It's the fault.
We use the county, SDS. They have an SDS to use the county.
That's the best thing ever, isn't it?
What's that, SDS?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're doing bad ones.
Oh, I guess we'll just do a minute. We'll go ahead and, we need to talk about the next one is, an agreement with, Georgia DNR. They sent back some changes I'm not sure about, so, let, Warren kind of go ahead and fill you in on that while we're waiting for Linda to get back.
On that one, with DNR, they came back with what I kind of thought were some quirky changes, which is why we didn't just, I'm okay with those, I suppose. But Let me tell you why, I want to sort of raise the issue with you. So what we said in there was, it's our drone, we own it, you fly it. But, you know, we own the data to it. I'm not sure exactly what that data was really gonna be, but whatever it is, I mean, you know. So they wrote back and said, yeah, that's fine. Provided that you only get the data that is generated if we're flying it for Tallulah Falls and it's a non-criminal purpose. And so, you know, I don't know what that would be either, because I thought the whole point of this would be, you know, law enforcement use, supposed to be fire rescue use. And so I don't know if that's a big deal or not, but it got me thinking to y'all. Are we going to let DNR fly our drones whenever they feel like it? Or do we want it to be only for a Tallulah Falls purpose, which involves who owns the data?
I think you,
And this guy probably has it.
yeah, an idea. The thing that I'm seeing, because we're also gonna be able to use it as more than search and rescue. So let's say that you have a SWAT call, we can send it up in perimeter. And that data is y'all will be able to get that data. I mean, anybody can get that data. I mean, it's open record request from y'all or whatever, but DNR the same way. I mean, we're gonna fly around people's houses because we can. It's through the FAA. I mean, I don't know why they're,
Yeah, in fact,
like I said, we're gonna fly around and do surveillance and stuff with what we do.
yeah, the Raven County used
They done GSP, so
the GSP drone, a flight for GSP they had an escapee down in Tom Arundel.
Yeah.
And they looked, searched, couldn't find him.
they was when
Raven County. Yeah, Raven County came down with their drone, flew it, and found him
about 10
10
minutes.
minutes. So, and he was what, 50 feet away?
Oh, yeah, it was like 50 foot, they walked all over.
So,
Yeah.
so there's a law enforcement purpose, but my thought on that would be that I'd be fine with, we don't need
You don't need
recording from what they're doing. But if it's for something for us, even if it's law enforcement related, I would want access to that data.
Because the data that
I don't care if
you're
they're searching
is
for
our
someone.
flight path and where we flew at. That's what we'll have on there already. We'll be able to tell you where we flew. The new thing that's coming out now is that me and Mike talked about also is that you can see where drones are. The lay public won't be able to see people, but the law enforcement and us will be able to pull it up on a map and say, well, there's a drone in our area. If not, they can go to jail for not registering that. It's a big,
What if something were to happen in the park, you know, a couple of years ago, there was a boating accident. Someone died at that time. Do we have access to what took place then if a drone was used? If it's our drone? Or are they saying because it's in the park, we won't see that data?
that would be a law enforcement.
Right. That'll do something.
I guess it's
So GSP does it now, they control reconstruction, and you still gotta get a warrant for that stuff through GSP if you had to have. But what that would be was more or less somebody being nosy, you just won't know, well, I wanna see your video. That's what you gotta watch, that's why you have to go through the law side of it.
Yeah, I'm a little, I thought about that too, because if DNR comes up to assist us in the gorge rescue, technically we're on their property helping them out. But if it's our drone and we're participating, shouldn't we have access to that data also? So,
Well, let me ask you, what kind of data that you would be asking for?
I don't know.
Let's say, the data that I'm gonna give you is every time that I fly that drone, I'm gonna call you and say, hey, we got a rescue today. We went out and rescued Mike, and the council is, we went out and rescued, we found the thing, we got the drone. And if you wanna know a flight path or something, hey, it was in Fairview or something like that.
It was boilerplate provisions. And
Yeah.
it was just like, okay, here's the drone, make it fly, right? And we'd come up with something that basically said we own the drone, you fly the drone. We own anything produced by the drone, and didn't think that was, we really weren't even thinking about it. And we sent it off to Raven and they signed it. And so then we sent it to Habersham and they signed it. And then all of a sudden DNR started pushing back on who owned the data, and I just,
That's law and things while they're doing.
Yeah, but y'all bought the drones, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they don't want it.
They don't want it, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll give you that drone.
You can try to. Like the drone.
Hey, Tom just want to do it.
no, yeah, well, Tony was the one that suggested, look, let's go ahead and get these in place with all the agencies that operate up here where, if Tallulah's got drones, they can use them. Great. No problem in the world with that. And like the one that we had worked out for Raven was, a couple pages maybe. And in the same one, I mean, it's significantly the same.
There's a lot of stuff in there, but just that's sometimes it's better to ask them to get in. Sometimes.
Well, that's why I just was like, well, wait a minute, what do you mean? But I don't know whether that matters.
If you call me and say, hey, what are you doing with the drone? I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna say, hey, we got, there's like if council meetings in a year, we'll come up here and tell you that I flew this many missions. And this is what we've done.
If we ran a drone, again, one of our drones through airspace over the park, it's still part of Tallulah Falls, right? And so do we have to share our data if we're the one operating the drone?
Well, we're not operating it, DNR would be airport.
Well, no, I'm saying if we were to use, for example, Raven County came down to help us and we were running through the park airspace. Who owns that data?
The airspace inside the park that is below 500 foot is technically the board. We technically can't fly inboard. We got an agreement to fly in there. But here's another kicker. If it's an emergency situation, all that goes out.
So technically, if we were above a certain level, it's all gonna be ours, it's just, whether DNR is the one flying it. Then what my question is, I don't care who owns the data, as long as we would have access to it. And I think we would have access through public record.
Yes.
Well, it says that you can request it unless.
But I don't understand why we have to go that extra step of it's our drone.
Yeah, right.
And if they don't want to work with us, then we'll just keep the drone.
It's
and move
it's
on.
the law side of their side.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, I think, part of the other problem. So with Habersham and Raven, we did Ravens, Alan Stockton and I talked for about 5 minutes of this thing and worked it out.
Yep.
Some way or another, Donnie had looked at it and sent whatever comments he had, which precipitated some changes for Habersham, but
His was worded, it's like,
that's what I mean.
and that's what I talked to Mike last night, I was like, is this gonna be a deal breaker that a couple of A's not in there for something? I'm like,
No, I mean, and, to your point, I mean, a lot of the stuff that he did was worthwhile, but I think you get the same result, so not knocking him, but I'm just saying. So with those two agreements being so simple, and just like he's saying, if I'm flying your drone, I give you access to whatever information on it you want. And then they push back on it, I'm like, well, maybe we don't fully understand how this works, and then the second question to that is, they're clearly contemplating using it for some other purpose. So are we okay with the purpose? If we are, great.
Was I supposed to say this is why we don't release intel gathering?
Yeah.
Not this is how we,
Oh, I don't know.
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I think that's meant,
this is
why
my
we
thing,
don't.
if I'm flying it for the sheriff's office, they call me wanting that drone to go fly a hostage situation. I'm gonna fly, it's gonna be all over the news for you. So, I mean, if something bad goes down, but if we're surveilling a drug dealer's house out there, you might, that's gonna be a little different. harder to get.
Well, look at it, still
But we'll
public,
say it in the newspaper, say, hey, that's where I was at.
They're just worried about getting sued on the criminal side of things.
Yeah.
West using it as releasing the data out before they get a chance to review or whatever.
yeah.
Some will give you whatever you want.
I don't see it.
No, it probably never comes up, really.
I see they made these notes, they didn't really make anything real applicable on how to adjust it, it's just scattering this.
They did,
Does that make any sense? You would have
The
to,
way, yeah, the way I look at it, as far as them using it in other locations, Christie's hiked the entire Appalachian Trail, and there are rescues on the Appalachian Trail all the time.
Can't fly their own.
And, you can't fly a drone over there? Oh, okay, Bartram Trail. Can't fly a drone.
Anything is federal, state, at federal land, you cannot fly in that, got a no fly zone.
Even if it's an emergency?
We have to get a waiver. So that waiver that y'all talked about, I have to get a waiver at that time.
Right, okay. Well, surely there's a scenario where one of our residents is out somewhere where they can fly, needs rescue, and they need to be located. And,
well, they didn't say you couldn't have the data, they're asking you to request the data, request the project, but what is their format on getting approval? If you get something emergency?
I know what mine is. Call, hey,
But it may not be with them,
Yeah.
because they have DNRs, well. There might be more, a little bit more
I'm
bureaucratic.
flying it for you.
Yeah.
we can also push this thing back next month to feel.
Yeah, just push it and make some real changes.
Yeah.
I can't even read this.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't read the changes they make, it don't make any sense.
And
It
if
really
we just
doesn't.
tell them no,
If I read them,
they'll back
yeah.
down and just say, okay, we'll send the original agreement. I mean, I don't
Just
see
tell
why
them-
we're
tell-
allowing
tell
them
them
to
they-
dictate.
True red line changes to the agreement that makes sense, 'cause these don't make any
Yeah,
sense.
just give us what it is you want.
That's true, yeah. This is how we do
If
not.
they happen to deny that, don't want it. Look, Raven County got the other, it's a small drone, they're just small.
Yeah.
I just think
Yeah, we're
we're
raising
in driver's seat.
time on it.
I don't understand why we're
Well,
bending
that's-
it back.
I make a motion to table that.
And I'll second it.
okay, all in favor? Yeah. Unanimous? Joey's on mute. But we have one.
You with us?
Wake up, Joey.
There's the yes.
Just take the last drone agreement. You good with that?
Yeah. Very good.
Okay, that's unanimous then. All right. So the next item on the agenda is an amendment to the mediation settlement agreement. This came up when a group of residents in town wanted clarification on how we define the rock.
I'm gonna go.
All right, see you. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, see you
Y'all
later.
need anything, let me know.
All right.
Yeah.
The rock is where the drone is housed.
Don't have DNR down there.
So anyway, so we've, I don't know if you guys have read through that. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. As much as it had.
We include, there is a,
There
is a photo.
Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a photo that goes along with this.
I think feel like the geolocation on it, longitude, latitude.
Yeah, it's a long lab.
Yeah,
Pretty simple to do.
yeah, it was just, we went from a corner of two lots meeting on up there. Yeah, I just drew Alexis about 70 feet from that location. I put a circle around it.
Okay.
It's in the right of way.
You're gonna knock that rock down.
Hard.
Dig it up.
Let's just stand up these.
Oh, does it?
There's the rocket now.
We're just already doing this.
It's down now.
Going down, great, down.
It does, I mean, it does reference off north intersection, back
Location
parcels,
of the rock.
101,
It's that
so that's
last
okay.
agreement. Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, express that.
Yeah, that's that round.
You know, people say.
Yeah,
They were just,
Yeah.
there were some people were thinking it was the rock where the road splits.
Rock is
I
just
was like,
like,
nah.
I actually heard about this rock on the short line trail.
it's Alcatraz.
Oh, really?
I was walking somewhere about the rock.
Oh,
Where's the rock? And I thought, oh, no.
that's fun.
That's the outside, yeah, so.
So anyways, this helps clarify language in that settlement agreement. And, everybody seemed to be okay with it on all sides, so just need to get it. We'll need to get approval from you guys once everybody's back in.
What do we need everybody? Huh? Oh, Linda needs to take notes.
Yeah, she needs to have notes on this part, and then we'll go. So while we're waiting on them real quick, kind of do a little mayor's comment.
Do we need to approve the agreement with Habersham or?
We already did.
We already did.
Oh, we agreed, we did the one for Habersham, and then we signed it before we got into the DNR, because Jason was here. Wanted to get them going. But, there we go. There. So, right. Yeah.
Let's rock that Pearson.
Yeah.
Was pretty clear.
They run utilities down there, rock that.
The 70.2 is.
Approximately 70 feet. Mike sat there a lot, I'm sure, going, because every time you move it, half it's like 69.5.
Google Earth was way more accurate. This was taken off with Q Public and it was a little more limited. I couldn't get it to print that, compass. It's got the check mark, it's
Yeah.
highlighted, but it didn't print.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I couldn't get the North Association. But the picture, the edges of the picture are in a northerly direction, so.
Maybe you're just right on line.
I'm good, man. That's a good location for us.
Yeah, no, it's where that circle is.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's.
Nobody's gonna move it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Somebody might. At some point.
Let me move.
But we have a reference for it now, so
Yeah.
that's the key. I think that's what they wanted. So that appeases some of our residents.
Right.
Good. Linda.
That's not day, I don't. We can't actually find anything that has a state mandated minimum for alcohol sales, meaning like when they start or when you make them start, other than on Sundays.
Monday, 12:01 is,
I think so.
take wise,
I think it's just left up to
the ordinance.
So New Year's Day,
New Year's Day.
when we get into that conversation, when you say New Year's Day, you can start sales.
Yeah.
12:01. And until a certain time and then.
Just New Year's Day on that, on New Year's. Yeah.
Oh, well, it wouldn't matter except
New Year's-
Sunday, except on Sunday. New Year's Day is on Sunday.
Yeah, that's right.
Wouldn't be able to- You'd have to cut it off at midnight.
Well, so I mean, I think if you leave it at that, it's,
We'll leave it at midnight,
yeah,
but reword the ordinance to say that on New Year's Day, you're allowed to sell from 12:01 until whatever y'all want to do. Like you said, they were asking for 2:00 originally. I just did 12:30 out there. So
They say you're just starting, I don't want to start something like
and they could sell all morning, all day, or I know they would have. People are gonna want to go home, go to bed, something, employees.
perfectly agree with the one with this big.
Meeting. Quick update, we never located the leak. So we buried a new line behind City Hall and brought it in back here by the water heater. Tied in and the valve out front shuts off, so we've got the section of line that has the leak in it is valved off. Still connected, but it's valved off, and all valves
So
are.
there's nothing running through.
Nothing comes through it. Rather than cutting up the pavement, coming up over here and getting around the gas lines and all that, I was just like, it seemed cheaper to me just to go ahead and put a new line in.
What size?
1 inch, I believe.
Oh, that last heavy rain we had, that drain that's just in front of us across the road near the hydrant was covered up again. So it was all,
Yeah. Chris and I got out there and cleaned it up
did you?
a little bit,
Yeah.
but now that he knows what a shovel is, he says, he'll take care of it for
It costs free ice cream.
I was amazed at how, I mean, that water.
That's great. Okay. That could be my.
you. He said he sat there and watched people coming around the corner and making him nervous, and, so we went over there and I showed him where they were. But, yeah, it's just the findings, you don't have grade, the grade's just small enough for his findings to fog it up. And they're hard to get off of it.
Is Georgia Power off for the holiday at this point? I noticed there's not much happening.
No, they just sent a notice out, they're gonna be shutting the road down Monday and Tuesday next week.
Is that buoy that they put in that string, is that permanent?
I know they talked about putting something in to keep boats away from the dam,
I think that's permanent.
so I think either that's permanent or
Yellow one?
something.
It's not permanent.
It is
It
permanent.
is.
It's either gonna be that or something else will be permanent, but they're wanting to keep boats away from the dam. So. That definitely would do it, I just. Kind of nice would.
Yeah. Yeah, but.
I have a question while we're waiting.
Yeah, sure.
I heard there was a class action suit filed about the camera tickets. I want to talk to you about the meeting I attended on Tuesday morning at the Raven County Water and Sewer Authority, but several people mentioned to me that the Tallulah Falls camera system is the pertinent subject of discussion around the county. So, has there been a class action suit filed?
One that the town's not involved in.
Okay,
There's been one filed against Blue Law,
okay,
and I think Warren got notification of that. I think we all got notification of it. Yeah. But yeah, there is a class action.
but the town is not.
The town's not involved with this.
So there's no, you didn't have to report it to your recalcitrant insurance carrier so that they wouldn't. Okay,
Not yet.
all right. That's good, that's good.
There's another item I want to see if insurance covered, but I'll talk about that.
Just tell them to quit cheating. You hear them talking.
One of them got 4 tickets.
Don't push speed.
He drives commercially and he got 4 tickets. And I said, well, they give you 11 miles. No, it can't be. I said, I don't think that's pretty much it. They give you 11 miles, yeah. And so, you know.
I give you 10. At 11, you get a ticket.
Well, 11, you get a ticket.
I just saw it on that one, letter that guy wrote for us.
Yeah, he
On
was
the citation, it was 56.
You get that email?
You got the same email.
Or was that 56?
It's 56 items.
I wouldn't give it.
Tom just said she adjusted it to where now it's
57.
sweeps them with 56s on out of here.
That's
I
good.
don't know if that's actually taking place, but I'll assume it. Then her people slow down a little bit.
No, it's helped tremendously.
The weird thing
It's
is,
helped a lot.
Yeah.
I get in the left lane, you don't drive on food speed limit and they crawl up my tail and I just piss the hell out of them.
that's
I
so
feel like
weird.
we're doing the.
I drive- I drive through there and nobody passes me anymore.
Right.
So it's real, I mean, rarely someone might pass me.
Even when it's not, even on the school lights not flashing, it works. People slow down a lot.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I just wish we could clarify those times.
I do too.
I mean, that is what I see so often. Well, the lights aren't flashing, you know.
Oh, you turn. All right, the amendment?
You have to do any mediation.
So it's Warren's fault. Guys, I'm forgiven.
Okay, so I need unless there's any further discussion about the amendment language. To the mediation settlement agreement. I need a motion to go ahead and accept this amendment.
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Okay, Craig makes the motion, Scott seconds, all in favor? And that's 3, 4, and 3 in favor and 1 abstaining. All right. All right, other than the update on the water, we need to go back to the alcohol real quick. So as we were talking, we all want to make a motion to make those changes. On New Year's Day, you may sell from 12:01 a.m. except on Sundays, except for New Year's Day falls on Sunday. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't see anything that says.
Well, let's make the motion contingent upon further research
Condition upon approval by
by the city attorney, which we have. So, all right, motion, Scott makes that motion.
and
Second.
and
Yeah, I'm waiting on
Scott seconds, so further discussion.
yeah, what maybe is in the event that we learn something else, do you want me to set it at whatever the something else is?
It's state law, yeah.
Yeah, we have to make a motion that allows us to still be in line with whatever the state.
You're basically approving sales on New Year's Day to start at 12:01 a.m.
As long as they,
As long as it's,
fall within the state, but yeah.
Yeah, well,
that's
okay.
That's our motion. Seconded, and so all in favor? Unanimous?
Sure.
Yes, unanimous.
And then did we already vote on the amendment?
Yes.
Oh, on the alcohol or that we didn't do the alcohol.
No, we tabled that. No. This is this
so
is
we're tabling DNR.
DNR.
We tabled DNR.
The permit, the application.
We approved the application though,
Yeah, we approved the application.
subject to the fingerprints coming back, and then the alcohol ordinance amendment, this is the one that would let it go.
Well, that's what we're saying. We're adjusting the language. We approved it, adjusting the language that it's
That's what I'm asking, did we approve the one that's in the packet?
No, we tabled it initially, except for what y'all just did, which was different.
The original one.
Let me see if I can say it a different way, like,
I got you.
so the motion was that we were going to change the hours for sale on New Year's. But we didn't change the hours from, so it would end at 11.
Okay, so then we approve. Then I need a motion to approve the ordinance. Yeah. Mike seconds, all in favor? Unanimous.
Sorry, guys, I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry, we have a motion to approve the alcohol ordinance amendment that's in our current packet that extends alcohol sales to midnight on New Year's Eve.
Yes,
On Sunday, 12.
30
Any other day, 12 on Sundays. So that was a yes. So, okay. All right, good for going so long. Really no mayor's comments, except we had a really great Christmas turnout for the Christmas party.
Yes, we did.
Unfortunately, we couldn't have a bonfire that night, but there's
So
always.
we do a New Year's bonfire.
Well,
We did one, remember in, what, 2000, when we, we did one then.
Yeah, I'll put that out there. See, I think Carl can get all that together, but
I don't know what the weather's gonna be, but yeah.
And I'm gonna open for public comments. David?
Yeah, very briefly, I attended, on behalf of the town, a board member, I attended a board meeting, of the Raven County Water and Sewer Authority Tuesday morning. And just a couple of things that I wanted to mention to you. Firstly, they had a problem that you're familiar with. One of the tanks on Screamer overflowed because that valve at the top that you always talk about, it's like a $12,000 valve. apparently wasn't working, and so that was one of the issues, that whether that valve was, that didn't properly maintained and whatnot. The other issue, and the Mayor Cannon was at the meeting and arguing on behalf of the city, is that they're now gravity feeding water into Clayton from the Little Tennessee River plant, so that they will eventually be able to take the filters in the Raven, in the Lake Raven facility offline, so that they can rehab the filters, and then they can replace the water that they're not gonna be able to pump from Lake Raven with water from what we kind of see while this operation is going on. Well, that gravity feed, which saves the authority money in terms of their power bills and pump usage and things like that. The city people felt that maybe it had, overfilled the tank, and they weren't reading the SCADA right, and they should have known that the water was going somewhere. Anyway, the upshot of all this is that unfortunately, the city used like 40% more water than they generally do. And since it all went through the meter, they had to pay for it. So that was a slightly controversial topic, but that's how that ended up. The other thing though is that one of the major projects that the authority's been working on is the rehab of these filters in the Lake Raven facility. And that was supposed to happen. There's a 3-month period where you can do it, where the lake isn't being used in the winter time. So they only got one bid, and the bid was very high. And so that project was supposed to move forward, and it's now been postponed for a year. So that we know exactly how that's going to work right now, but it's not that we're going to lose water usage or anything like that. But that project did go down the tubes for a year, so it's going to be rescheduled. And so those are the two. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention to you is that I believe that the Clayton Water Department had 12 employees, I understand. I believe 7 of them have already put applications in with the authority and have been interviewed, or are in the process of being interviewed. So the deal is that anybody who wants a job, and who's willing to be employed by the authority is going to get a job if there's and I understand that some more are coming over are going to be putting their applications in. So it's hopeful that maybe people will be able to keep their jobs, and there was a discussion about parity of salaries and bringing everybody up to where their current levels are, so that none of the employees are penalized by the controversy that's been going on between the city and the authority. So all that sounds pretty hopeful, and due diligence moves forward. Information is being exchanged. There's still in the process of hopefully closing this deal sometime in February, March, after the first of the year. So I'm still moving forward with that and on schedule. All right. So that's it.
All right. Yeah, so I would like to kind of talk about like my side of the town, and Georgia Power's kind of use of the what's known as special land surrounding me, which the special lands and the zoning is kind of, the use now is non-conforming to what is described in the definitions of what special lands are, conservation, whatnot. They've cleared out forests, they put gravel lots in, they have the huge substation, which, I support the upgrading of the infrastructure. And then I don't support what they've done on my front doorstep and in my backyard. They have hundreds of acres they couldn't use. So, kind of looking at that land over there and either starting a dialogue with Georgia Power or to do some restoration of trees and removal of some gravel lots, or just not make it special lands because it's not conservation land. Some of it is, much of it is, but the stuff around the substation is like light industrial use right now, really is what I have dump trucks, it's front end loaders, I don't know, if you go over there or fly your drone over it and look at the changes that have taken place. So I think if something for the council maybe to just look at all the zoning over on that side and see if maybe some lands need to be put into different categories. And other one is short-term vacation rentals. A lot of towns like Asheville has, but their short-term vacation rental policy was they got rid of short-term vacation rentals basically. Unless you lived in a house and you had a garage, an apartment or a garage house. And the theory with that is you're not gonna have people buying up properties and residential properties to just utilize for short-term vacations, but they do allow their residents and their citizens to have some extra income of properties that adjoin theirs when they're permanent residents, they live there, because you're not gonna have a party going on, in your backyard at, 10, 11, 12 with a lot of noise, because you're gonna be there, it's gonna be driving you crazy, and of course, miss your party with them. But, the theory is that I have friends who, have Airbnbs and stuff like that, things they used in Asheville, but also people who lived up there who had garage apartments and stuff that they utilize for that. So I think that might be something that I spoke to Linda about this before. I have a garage that I could use for something like that. I don't know if I want to do that, but I thought there probably are people who might want to utilize some space in their home for that. And I think that would be fair to citizens of the town and not trying to bring in outsiders who are just gobbling up property to rent out for only short-term rentals. So I think those would be some good considerations. I like Little Falls. I like it's a small town. I like it, it was really quiet, but it's growing and it's getting busier. The park's gotten busier. There's, we are a town that is in a state park. So I think having accommodations for people is nice. But I don't think like having hotels and a bunch of, just everything turning into like a Maggie Valley or something like that, would be something I would desire. But options for those who would do. Those are my few little things.
All right. Any other public comment? Definitely something to keep in mind and look at for the future. I'll have to look into the Georgia Power issue. Talk with Warren and see. I don't think I think they get special privileges.
They so, but let's not call it special lands when it's not special lands. Some of the mountain that they own is, when you get up near the Y camp and all that, there's still plenty of conservation lands up there.
Yeah.
But there's plenty that they've changed the use of, and they're taxed differently, I know, than we're taxed.
So definitely something to consider and at least look at. So,
Just like barriers, that, plantings around the substations that they put up. On Sea Lake's dealing with this too. There's huge dialogue up there. They're going through a lot of the same.
Yeah, I'm Bill.
You heard, yes. And like I said, I support it.
Our civil package though, it doesn't address the landscape package. There's several packages, so they may not be complete, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I kind of try to talk to people about it, but I get more from the subcontractors than from Georgia Power.
Yeah, that's true.
Other Jeremy Stratton has been, really good to contact at Georgia Power, and he's reached out and kind of helped me out and cut me calm. It's been like 4 years, so.
yeah, it's been rough on him out there. So, all right, we still have some things to do in executive sessions. So if we don't have any more public comments, I'm gonna go ahead and ask for a motion to go into executive session.
I'll make a motion.
Craig makes I'm sorry, for property and potential litigation. So Craig makes a motion, Scott seconds. All in favor? It's unanimous.
Yes.
There's so let's go ahead and shut down the feed. No problem. Thanks for coming. You still with us? On the phone there, Joey?
Go there.
All right, let a yes come out of executive?
Yes.
Yes, okay, unanimous. Just want it on the record. We going? All right, now we get for,
I'll make a motion to come back. Yeah, to regular session.
all right, Scott seconds, all in favor? Unanimous.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe, you wanna make a motion to go to adjourn?
Already adjourned.
All right, Joey makes that motion, who seconds? Scott seconds, all in favor, unanimous. All right, thanks, Joey, appreciate it, bud. Hey, hope everything's,
See you later.
all right, hope everything's going fine with, he is gone.
Yeah,
That's all right.
well, he's